All right, we should be live. Welcome everyone to PhDnD on YouTube, and I am here with a very special event today. I've got a couple of guys from the BattleBards Kickstarter here to talk about, well, their Kickstarter and everything that's going along with that. So I'm going to turn it right over. I'm Kirk from PhDnD if you don't know me, but I'm going to have them introduce themselves. So why don't we go ahead and we will actually start with you, Alex.
Cool. Hey guys. Hey everyone. First of all, Kirk, thanks for having us. Alex Jarzabinski, better known as Soul Collector in the gaming community. We have been, as Kirk mentioned, we have this premium audio fantasy tabletop Kickstarter going right now with some cool tools, and I'm the audio director and also the general manager, and I'll pass it over to Mike Adams.
So yeah, I'm Mike Adams, and I'm the co-community manager for BattleBards, and I am the one PC that gets everybody killed. Pretty much.
Awesome, awesome. So what we're going to do today is talk just a little bit about your guys' Kickstarter, kind of where this started, and then I've got just kind of a list of questions I'll go through, but feel free to interject and kind of go wherever you want with this. Just really let the viewers know exactly what it's all about, because I just learned about it a couple weeks ago, and so I've been kind of playing around with some of the tools, and it's awesome. But I will let these guys tell you. So why don't we start out with, what is BattleBards?
Sure. So BattleBards is two major things. Number one, it is premium, top-tier music, sound effects, soundscapes, and voiceovers that is actually done by national working talent. So I'm talking, for example, one of our voiceover artists that we have a pleasure to work with, Joe J. Thomas, does the voice for the Skeleton King in Diablo 3. Another artist that we're looking forward to working with, Katie Lay, does, if you remember, Honker from Darkwing Duck from Disney's Afternoon. So we work with some Mondo premium talent, and that really shows in the quality that we've released. In fact, we, in a lot of these podcasts, we are very confident saying that we produce the finest fantasy audio ever made. And all that, the props really go to our talent. And we're very proud of what we're able to produce. The second part of BattleBard are the tools. You could have Hans Zimmer and John Williams themselves in your corner composing audio for you. But if you don't have the right tools as a GM to integrate that audio seamlessly, and you're going to know Kirk better than most, if you're trying to queue up 4 different media players and you have a minimized YouTube window or Vimeo window with ads coming up, like all of a sudden you're in the middle of a scene and it's like, slap into a Slim Jim, you know, or the Geico theme comes on, you know, there it goes, the energy is just going to absolutely collapse the table. So the tools to actually bring that audio as close to the GM as humanly possible to make use of that audio practical and seamless at the gaming table. And by the tools, I mean a customizable modular soundboard, which allows GMs to organize their audio library any way they want, and a mixer to be able to contribute, combine voiceovers and music, even your own audio library, in with ours, and create mixes on the fly with an interface that gets as complicated as click and drag. So that's BattleBards in a nutshell. Did I cover everything, Mike?
Yes.
Good.
That okay, so let me ask real quick. You said you can basically integrate your own audio. Say I've got a playlist of songs for Dungeons and Dragons, and you're saying I can basically take those and put those right into the mixer.
You certainly can. So, a couple things. I have more OSTs than you can shake a stick at. I've been using audio and gaming for 15 years pretty heavily. And like you, I have my tried and true, you know, my sad, you know, my action, my suspenseful kind of OSTs organized that way. I could bring those into the BattleBards soundboard with the same type of categorical references. I can also mix with them. So, for example, there's this great voiceover for a gambling hall by an artist named Edwin Tiong that goes so freakishly well with Hans Zimmer's 2 hornpipes from Dead Man's Chest. It almost seems like that piece was orchestrated for this voiceover because it just syncs so well. You're going to be able to basically layer those 2 tracks, say, okay, mix, and now you have this new original composition ready for you to go.
Okay, see that, now that's one thing I didn't realize as I was kind of playing around. That is amazing.
See,
I've
that's
got
what we're going for, right there,
yeah,
Kirk. You nailed it. Amazing.
that's we've probably got like 2,000 songs we use right now in iTunes playlist. But like you said, it's okay. Now I got to pull that up. I got to stop that one. I've got to
Yep.
try to work those in. So the fact that those can be mixed, that is awesome.
Like, how many times have you had all these playlists open, and then, you know, the GM has so much on their plate, and you're in the middle of this great fight, but you have this one sound effect that you have to use, but it didn't queue up right, so all of a sudden, all the players are just, oh my god, this is amazing, and then it's like, guys, wait, hold on, shoot, I got a problem, I got to find this file, and the energy just collapses. You know, your players would be cool with it, but, you know, the moment's gone. That is unacceptable. That is going away.
And that is very cool. Just the idea that you can actually first of all, the sounds and the voiceovers that I've just played around with, or that I've heard from you guys, and like you said, the quality is amazing, because I've seen other, I won't name any, but there are other audio ways out there for GMs to use.
Absolutely.
And they're all right. They've got a good idea behind them, but a lot of them sound extremely homemade. Not that that's a bad thing, but it sounds like one person literally did every single sound effect, every single voiceover, and so there's a real difference I could tell in the quality of what you guys had, at least that I've seen already. So I'm sure there's a lot more even.
There's a ton. I mean, we're hoping that this initial audio library is going to be in the order of like 500, 600 plus to start. This library is going to grow monthly. Every single month there's going to be new stuff. But Kirk, you hit on a super, super important point. I will be the first to say there is a ton of audio out there that you could use in gaming. A ton. I mean, look, just go on YouTube, and I mean, almost every OST out there is going to be available. And before I go further, I think we kind of crashed a bit. Oh no, okay, you're back. So yeah, there's an awful ton of audio. Now, however, a lot of it, if you're going to be using in a gaming specific setting, it's a little jarring sometimes because it's not specifically made for that. And as far as the other people who do supply gaming audio, yeah, I'll be the first to tell you, there's some good stuff out there. There really is. But you hit the nail on the head, Kirk. It's usually one guy or a small group of guys that do everything. And frankly, where some of these artists could do, for example, an absolutely amazing human metropolis soundscape, might not be the best guys to do a Goblin Warren or an Orc raiding party, just because, they have different instruments, different tools, different core competencies, different talent. That's the secret sauce that I'm telling you that is BattleBards. What we do is the reason our quality is so absurdly high is because every single piece that makes it to our library has to be competed over. So we have these national guys, and we keep opening our gigs up to national talent, and we have the unique ability to do that. And every piece is agonizingly scrutinized, and every piece earns its place in there. And that's why our quality is so crazy, because, we'll get, 20, 50, 70 auditions. And so as the audio director, that's my job. So what I'll do is I'll do the creative brief. And that's one of the funnest parts for me because I get to dive in all kinds of different gaming source materials, put the creative brief, throw it out to the talent, and then I work with all this talent on their auditions. But that's the thing, though. They have to audition. No single talent gets the creative brief and says, okay, there, go. No. That's not going to work for us. They have to compete. They have to earn that spot. So as we go forward, we kind of cherry pick those that cut the, that need to cut. And now for those of you that know BattleBards and you kind of go through our file names, you'll see that the same couple of artists come up time and time again. That's not because we just hand them the creative brief. It's because they continuously earn that spot. They continuously earn the right to have BattleBards be what's offering their track. And that's the little secret behind how we are able to get the quality so crazy.
And I'll say, as I was going through just some of the sample stuff, I could tell with some of the longer tracks, what do you call them? I'm totally blanking now. Like the more musical numbers, anyways, that they're very, very good. And I was like, okay, so these guys aren't messing around, number one. But when I got to, I think there's like a tavern owner was one, like the very first one I came across, with the actual voiceover, and then that just blew me away at how great that was.
Thank you.
I was expecting cheese, I'm not gonna lie, very cheesy, like tavern dude. And I was like, no, that actually like that would pull me deeper into a game if I heard
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. And
Um,
I'm really grateful that you bring that up. Voiceovers is a really kind of an unexplored frontier for tabletop gaming, and we're not. I don't think we're the very, very first to do it, but we are, I think, the first to do it in a very big way. And we'll get a lot of feedback from gamers where they don't get it. They're like, well, but guys, gaming, D&D is all about our own story. How is it that you guys are going to get a pro to do my voiceovers? And the answer is, it's not that we're going to voice every NPC of yours. We're just going to voice the most common ones. The bartender, the tavern owner, the stable guy, the NPCs that typically when a party interacts with them, it's an accounting adventure. It's like, okay, well, how much gold do I have to spend for so much? No, no, no. Throw your players in. Have this unique character voiced by a pro who knows what they're doing with a unique script. Have accents, adventure hooks, flavor, context, all that stuff that a GM, if you want, can run with it. So the one that we like to bring up is that gambling hall where the guy goes, oh, yeah, welcome, sit back, relax. We have dice, we have cards, and we have goblin toss as games that you can play. And then the players could be like, whoa, wait, back to train up a second. Goblin Toss? Like, that's a game that we can play? And like, hell yeah, it is. Go ahead, here, 5 gold, and I'll usher you into the Goblin Toss ring. And that's the beauty of, for a GM who has so much to do, I now don't need to contextualize every NPC to make a super immersive environment. I can pull one off the shelf, and there's going to be an insane amount to choose from. I'm just going to be able to choose one off the shelf and go, there, that's the tavern owner, and run with it. Or I can hand pick one, whatever it happens to be. As far as like how deep we go into scrutinizing every track, I'll let Mike tell you how intense that gets with the core team when it comes to choosing an audition.
Before I go into our arguments and fistfights over that stuff, I would like to say that with the voiceovers, with the tools that we have, any of these audio bits or any of the audio that you want to use, you can crop. So if you just want to have, like a hello, a voice, or you're a DM that just can't do voices, you can crop just that to the point where it just says hello, welcome, and then that's it. I mean, you can actually use as much of the audio or as little of the audio as you really want. So with our tools, you are able to do that on anything. So if you import something yourself, like if you record something of yourself or whatever, you can crop that, and then so that's another part of the tool aspect that we have here. That I'm sorry, Alex, you missed that, but yeah, Alex will come to us with a short list of like 14 tracks, and he'll say, okay, guys, we have to pick one. And we just, it's the OCGG team, the Orange County Gaming Group, that we kind of all came together to kind of start BattleBards, the kind of the history behind it. And we'll sit down and we'll listen to each of these tracks, and we will literally get into arguments, hour, 2 hour, 4 hour arguments over which track belongs. I think Druid Grove was one of the hardest ones. The Halfling Camp was one of the hardest ones. Gnome
Celebration was brutal.
That was really bad. But I mean, it's just, and that's just that's the talent. That's the talent that we get. That speaks about all that. It's just where something will resonate with me, something will resonate with Alex, something will resonate with one of the other guys, or Leanne, or one of the other team members, and it's just like awesome.
And that's the thing, Kirk. It's we all have decades of gaming experience, and that gaming experience is from different platforms and video games. And like Mike said, whereas I think, for example, guys, a Gnome Celebration has to have these key points, these key accents. Leanne or Mike or Robert, somebody else from OCGG go, well, okay, but that's not as important as what this audition has, which has other iconic Gnome stuff. Because here's the thing with the music that you listen to, our goal is, for like 85% of gamers out there, I want the average gamer to listen to a couple seconds and go, I know who that is. That's a dwarf. That's a gnome. That's a halfling. Those are dark elves. It has to be that iconic because we're going for that level of specificity. So, however, when I talk to you, Kirk, and I say, tell me what's iconic dwarf, is likely to differ from 4 other people as far as what's the most key aspects of dwarven culture. Depending on what system you're used to, and we'll get really deep, but that really goes to the extent of experience we all have and the passion that we have to make sure that this audio really is the best ever heard in fantasy gaming.
That's interesting to hear kind of that process and how deep you guys go with that. The auditions, that's something I didn't know. And then the extent to which you go forth from there and actually talk about and kind of debate, this works or doesn't work. Whereas I think a lot of other attempts at this, they just want it to sound good that first or second try maybe, and then it's released. That's the tavern owner, or that's the thing. So I think the amount of time and energy you guys are putting into this, it's showing for sure. The other one that I was gonna say was I think a werewolf transformation,
Yeah.
and
That's
that
Alex's
one
baby.
was I'd
Alex
heard
loves that track.
I'd heard other
We
ones before, and I really expected a cheesy thing there, and I not at all what I got. So that was a very good one actually.
Thanks. Yeah. So as Mike was saying, that's kind of my baby. When I go into D&D Evil or Evil, and the Dark Elf Temple shows this as well, werewolf transformation. I want to avoid the Disney definition of evil. Okay. When we say evil, especially something as iconic as werewolf or drow, dark elf, it needs to be true to the subject. It needs to be true to the material. And a softened version of evil is not going to cut it for me. So I tell artists, do not hold back. With werewolf transformation, it's supposed to be violent. It's supposed to be gruesome, where bones are snapping and reforming into place, tendons are coming apart and reforming. I want to hear that. And boy, do you hear the agonizing transformation. Dark Elf Temple, you hear a poor guy getting brutally stabbed repeatedly with a sacrificial knife, and you hear him die. One of the, I don't know if I want to say best or worst, is a common giant torture, where you just hear a giant doing what giants like to do and rip people apart and eat them. So Mike and I and Ken were discussing early on. I was like, dude, are we gonna get angry emails from parents? Be like, you guys are pricks, and my child has screaming nightmares because of some of the stuff that you produced. But that's kind of true to the source, though. I mean, that's the material that really is, and I think adventurers would feel you kind of get more of a rush killing that giant that you heard rip this poor guy apart than some like, oh man, look at me, I'm a stupid little giant. I mean, come on, man. We're gonna go for some serious adventure here, and so yeah, werewolf, yeah, you you will grimace a bit hearing that. That's for sure.
That's a good one. So with the thing about that really intrigued me about all this from the start, I've always used music in my games, and I've had debates with people online. Some of them don't like it. It's too much work for a GM, they say. But if you get it just right, and even just being able to try to do that with just iTunes, it really draws people in on a level that you can't do with words. And so the fact that you guys are making this even more accessible and making that so much easier for people to jump into is just amazing. So what I was going to ask you next is, how can you, or what would you say to those GMs that say, well, it's too much extra on my plate to try to run audio?
Absolutely, great question. And by the way, I'm a blogger on Mad Adventure Society, where I do talk about integrating audio and gaming, and do help both novice and veteran GMs with how to best integrate audio and gaming. And there's actually a video that's been in post for a very long time called Audio and Gaming that we're producing that does the same thing, but in video format. So back to your question, great question, Kurt. For new DMs that are interested in integrating audio to gaming, my first and most important piece of advice is start small. Don't score the whole damn thing. Just start with the easiest thing, which is some ambient tracks on a loop for combat or for non-narrative scenes. So if it's going to be, for example, we're in a large city, play the large city soundscape day or night, whatever it happens to be. A narrative is amazing to score when you have the right piece. Just choose something that has that right contextual level of energy that you want for your narrative piece, and you'll be surprised how far that can go, as you mentioned. A little little minor tips I would recommend if you're going to be narrating, if you're going to be scoring a narrative, do the following: put headphones on, and as you're so type your narrative, and then when you're done typing, listen to the score in real time as a comfortable level of reading as you're going to read it on the table, and do as close as you can to what's called syncing. because what that can do is take that scored narrative to the next level when you have the right, as the flow of that score goes through, you can also have the flow of the narrative kind of correspond to that. And some of the effects are just outstanding. Some great times where we pulled that off is we had a PC whose father passed away in the game, and I think I played Wally Static, the Wally OST, this very kind of sad, very somber, with a narrative that describes kind of the father's spirit coming back to say one final farewell to his daughter, and Leanne was brought to tears. I'm both proud of it and kind of ashamed that I made a player cry, but
that was not the first time either.
No, I know I wasn't. But that's the power of audio. So okay, back to the question. I'm sorry, I go on tangents all the time, so no
problem.
You gotta beat me down a little bit. Okay, I would say start small. Start with just scoring a little things. If you already have ambiance and narrative scores down pat, the other thing I would recommend is what we call scene accenting, and that could go as deep as you want it to be or as shallow as you want it to be. By scene accenting, it's you take a very kind of a short sequence or a short scene and add a little bit of audio to spice it up. A couple examples. Say one that I did with my players. There's a mother and a daughter that's running into a storehouse in a stronghold that's being sieged, and the attackers are coming inside the stronghold. Now I wanted to give my players a real-time, nail-biting experience, so I told them, okay guys, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to have a real-life counter here. These people are going to be bashing in the door that this lady came into, and you will know how much time you have left based on the sound effects that I'm going to play. So as they were coordinating and playing, I kept playing this. We have these sound effects of like weapons hitting wooden shields, which sound like a door, and I started with like thud, thud, and then it got to like crunch, crunch, and then it got to crash, crash, and they're like, okay, oh my god, we're out of time. So that's scene accenting, where you add this type of context into the game that adds a new level of experience. Another quick suggestion would be, for example, a BBG fight, a major spellcaster. So it's one thing to say, okay, the wizard casts lightning bolt, give me a reflex. It's another thing when it's like, zzz, and you hear this thunderous, high-definition lightning blast, and then you tell your players, now roll me a reflex save. That adds such a level to that fight. And it's so little work. All you need to do is have that primed on a soundboard. Or look, even if you're not using the soundboard, you're not using BattleBards, that's fine. I want to encourage everyone to use audio in gaming. Have at least a playlist going with the sound effects ready to go. And even something that small, guys, will make the world of difference at the table.
Alex, your dog is attacking the crap out of me.
Yes, Milo will do that.
Sorry, so if I keep moving, it's because he's biting me.
All right, I can.
Play.
Honey, my wife is busy. Okay, you're gonna have to contend with Milo.
Okay, well, he's winning.
So we have. Let's see. My next question would be, where do you see BattleBards 3 years from now or 5 years from now? What's kind of the driving force behind it, and where would you want to see it?
Did Alex give you these questions to ask him?
I know, right? These are like perfect. These are amazing.
We're twins.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, we covered that early.
You are twins, and that's scary. There's another Alex out there.
Great thing. So we already have, I think, version 3 or 4 of the soundboard kind of already on paper. So the tools that we're going to offer gamers are going to continue to evolve. We're going to, obviously, as the releases go through, we're going to take feedback from the community. What do they like? What do they don't? And I think there's still, even with the advances we're going to make on the soundboard, I still think that there's some improvements that we can make to bring that audio even closer. So what I see 3 years down the line is advanced tools for the soundboard and the mixer, different things other than like fading, just simple tools to make these creation mixes better. We're also going to be expanding into other genres, with most likely the next genre being related to, say, a really, really big movie coming out in December. So we're going to be opening up other genres. Now, the question that we get a lot is, well, how come we're not doing sci-fi now or modern or cyberpunk or anything? The answer is, what we see a lot of other people do is they skip genres too quickly, and because they want to capture as much of the market as possible, right? And that's kind of, it seems like it's a little more profit-driven for them. It's like, well, I want to sell audio. Not so much for us. I mean, we just want to be successful so we can pay our talent and we can keep this engine going. Because BattleBards is an engine, really. It's just let's get these top tier talent people so satisfied with what they're doing that they just keep coming back and making more content. So that, you know, we don't want to skip genres too quick. We want to make sure that the fantasy crowd can come to BattleBards and damn near find almost anything they want for the session that they're going to be running. When we feel confident that that's happening, we're going to go into these other genres. So I see 3 years down the line, we'll probably, hopefully, depending on how quick we can really get BattleBards going, our second or third genre.
Excellent. You brought up a good point. You know, when they skip around and they try to hit, you know, a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of the cyberpunk and all that, all at once, then you've got the majority of people, which is going to be fantasy, and they might come right over to the product, see that it doesn't really have that much, and then they're moving right along to something else. And so I think that's really great that you're actually putting everything into one, making it the best it can be, and then expanding.
Thanks. Yeah, and even when we go to another genre, we still foresee, you know, fantasy. We're hoping we're going to have that grow month after month forever, as long as we can. So even when we do go to sci-fi, fantasy we will still have new content for Pathfinder D&D folks to come in and find new stuff that's being offered.
That's awesome. What is, if you could like break down your core like ideal or like your driving goal behind all of this, what would you say that is behind the whole entire project?
I think the goal that drives me really when I sit down and, you know, I'm putting in my 13th hour of work in the day, it's, as Alex, as someone whose this hobby has been such a cornerstone of my life, I define myself as a gamer first and foremost. I want to leave an impression in this industry. And that impression is to make the game as immersive as possible. The worlds that people create, the collective storytelling that you do with your friends. I mean, with Mike, with Robert, my friend Mikey, we have stories about gaming that we tell 5, 6, 7 years after we played them. You know, all of a sudden we'll be having coffee, we'll be eating, and then it'll just like, oh my God, remember the time that Tim got Crump killed because he got him too drunk, and
here we go.
Remember?
You got to dig there, don't you?
Yeah,
you
that's right.
Pick that one up.
Tim's his character. Remember the time where we were at Ayante Tampo and the Bodak killed one of the NPCs out of nowhere. So there's these stories that stay with you, and being a part of that and having the audio to contextualize those stories and being part of gamers experiences out there is what drives me. But I'll also toss that question to Mike.
Yeah, I mean, it really is all about just making gaming that much better. I think it's basically the same goal for both of us. I really just D&D. I'll be honest. D&D has been such a prominent thing in my life for so many years. I mean, since junior high school. I think that's when I first discovered it, and from the time where me and my friend would be playing after school. We would ride our bikes over to his place and then set up Zanzertem's dungeon and run it. And whenever we needed something, his little brother would be like, "Hey, come here, roll this dice. Okay, thank you. Go away. Yeah, your cleric ran away." So just having those moments and memories and having that, building that kind of way of bringing people together to game and to basically just keep that ideology of tabletop games alive and thriving and on and an ever-growing spiral instead of that kind of lull that it kind of had there for a little while. It kind of dipped down real low, and with these new additions and with a little bit of reinvigoration and with some tools and stuff that have come out, you've kind of seen it kind of on the rise again, and we want to just keep on that rise. And help it, and we'll push it along.
Awesome. I think it's really cool to hear just kind of when you break it down into your individual selves, like what's driving you guys. It's just really cool to hear that behind the whole thing. So, okay, let's rewind a ways. This current Kickstarter that you're doing right now is not your first, basically, foray into this. So where did everything start? Kind of show everybody where this all started, what you guys have already done, before this Kickstarter, and then where you're at now.
Sure, Mike. I think you have
Yeah.
origin story down pat.
Well, it all started with Alex when he had this scene in mind 15 years ago. He had these teenagers. He's like, God, what am I going to do? They had just come back from, getting Taco Bell, and they were all jacked up on Mountain Dew. And then he's just like, how am I going to dial these guys in? Because they're tossing farts at each other, and they're joking and this and that. How do I just bring it back to the serious moment that he has just like choreographed in his mind? And so he did it with audio. He really dialed them in with a scene-specific piece of audio from Braveheart that everybody would recognize, is that scene where William Wallace comes back to town to murder that guy that killed his beloved. And it's amazing how audio really is ingrained in all of us. When we have those iconic moments in movies or shows or what have you, it's always tied with a nice piece of audio. If you recognize this, or if you actually pay attention, you'll know that. And in your brain, you just go, oh my God, that's that track. Oh, what's going on? And it's
A great
amazing
example,
how.
if I can, I'm sorry, Mike. I
No,
promise
it's okay.
I'll give it back to you. But some great examples of that, and it's on the blog that I have that I write. I call it leveraging latent emotional connection. So, for example, Kirk, if I were to play that track from, I don't know if you saw Kick-Ass, the original, the first one, where the Big Daddy's death, and if I play that track, boom, you're going to be emotionally taken to that scene. If I play the track of the assault on the Death Star from New Hope, again, you're going to be taken to that emotional level. So one of the tips that I also give for GMs that need to dial in that energy is not just use a track that has that emotional, that level of energy you're going through, but leverage latent emotional connections to popular movies that you know your players have seen, because it will instantly transport them to that scene and that energy. So anyways, just wanted to bring that out. And I think, Mike, you have some other really, really good examples of that. But anyways, I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, I mean, we could do probably an entire podcast on just that, or a Google Hangout or whatever. We could go on and on for hours about how this scene does this and that scene does that. But music does play a huge role. And so Alex realized this pretty early on, and fast forward a few years, where he kind of gets a little bit more tools at his disposal, or technology has kind of advanced a little bit so that he can use YouTube to do, other things, include other things like sound effects and stuff like that. It's a little trickier, but it was possible. And so, he came to the table and would do this stuff, and then one of the guys was like, wouldn't it be great if we could just make audio for D&D, or for Pathfinder, or for Star Wars, or for, wait, I can't say that. Can I say that? Is that trademark? I don't know. Anyway, don't sue me. I'm just using it as an example. But make those specific sounds, like an eye monster, or a dragon sound, or a ghoul, or gibbering mouth, or like, what does that sound like? Like, what if you heard that? Would you really be willing to just run in there and just attack it and take the hits? No. It would frighten you. It would basically, you would freeze up. And so anyway, we decided to run a Kickstarter. Kickstarter was kind of gaining popularity. It was kind of coming out, and so we're like, let's just do a Kickstarter and see what the community out there will do, or what will they respond to this? Is this unique to us, or do other people want it? And our Realm Sound 2.0 project actually did get funded by almost 3 times. So we're like, there is definitely people out there that really want this. It pretty much is, and that's after that we kind of got into BattleBards, and here we are. Kind of long-winded way.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but in fact, even the current Kickstarter is actually the second run. We did a BattleBards Kickstarter a couple weeks ago, and we canceled it. So we were well on our way of getting funded. We were, I don't know, don't remember, 15 or something days left, and we were at 7,700 or 7,400, something along those lines. And we were well on our way, but we were getting feedback from people. So we had originally a subscription model, where we thought that would be advantageous to get DMs to explore other forms of audio, because if you're already paying $5 a month or whatever it was to get access to a metric ton of audio, For GMs that maybe never used voiceovers before, they would now be inclined to try it because they have it. They have access to it already. But we got so much feedback from the community saying, guys, we love the idea, but I'm not feeling the subscription thing. Can you guys please change? And we got so much of that we sat down as a core team and we're like, guys, what do we do? We're doing really well. We're on the way of being funded, but here we are saying that we're a company that is dedicated to the wishes of the gaming community, and it's pretty clear that this is what they're asking of us. And it was a scary time because to cancel this, first of all, are we going to upset the people who already backed us? What are all the podcast partners that we've worked with, and we've been on a lot of podcasts and articles, what are they going to think of us kind of switching gears and canceling on them like this? We have to renegotiate with a ton of artists all in a very short window of time, which was crazy to do. Draft new contracts. I mean, it was really scary. Ultimately, we chose to do it after some agonizing days of going back and forth. And I think so we relaunched, I think, in about a week. And I think it worked out. We're having a lot of people that really came back, and now we're doing really, really well. So so even this is our second run. I think we dialed it in this time.
That's gutsy, but it shows. I think it really shows what you are as a group or a company, if you want to call it that. That you listened to people, and then you took a risk that was risky for you guys, not necessarily them, to give them what they want, and it worked because I think people, I don't know a lot about it, but people respect and they see that, and then they want to be a part of that. So I didn't know that either, I guess. That's very, very interesting. Okay, so talk about the current Kickstarter, the state of how it's going, how much time is left, and what can people expect to get out of it if they have not seen it yet.
Sure. So I think we're at 11.7 right now, which is we're more than twice overfunded, which is awesome. I think we got about 10 days left. I could pull it up to get the specifics. But I think we have let me see here, 9 days left, and we're almost at 12. We're at 11,890. So what can you guys get for it? I got to tell you guys, for you GMs out there that are interested in what we're offering to the gaming community, even a little bit, even if you're kind of not sold on, why do I really want top tier audio, my sincere advice to you though is if you're going to dip your toe in the pond, dip it now in the Kickstarter, because we're giving away a lot of free audio so we can have the largest base possible to incentivize our talent. And to do that, we're giving an awful lot of audio away. So if you're going to dip your toe, I'm telling you, dip it now, because I don't think we're going to be able to offer these crazy amount of free tracks when we go live, again, because it has to do with the logistics of working with the talent base that we have. So you get a lot of free stuff. You actually get exclusive tracks. We kind of picked some of the most engaged, most generous artists that we work with, and they agreed to donate some of the work to the demigod tier, which is super exciting, and that's going to be open to vote. So this exclusive group that pledges demigod and higher are going to be part of a very select group that are going to decide what that audio is going to be, and that has some pretty big names. I don't want to spoil it. That's pretty big names that are going to be involved in that. In fact, some more will be announced soon. What else do you get? You're going to get the original soundboard, which is the Realm sound, which will kind of hopefully tide you over until the new tools are created. You're going to get probably the craziest thing that we're going to offer for some of the higher tiers. You're going to get permanent discount. From here to forever, in Kickstarter only, BattleBards audio will cost you less than anybody else who comes on later. And that is probably the craziest thing that we're offering right now. So, hopefully, I know, you kind of hit the nail on the head again, Kirk. Where to say that we're a company is kind of a stretch. We're gamers. We're just really, really passionate gamers. So if this all makes sense monetarily, we'll figure that out. We just want to offer as much audio as we can and get the talent happy. Everything else we'll figure out. Again, another hopefully indication of that is we're actually paying the development of the tools ourselves from our own pocket, and just because we feel that it'd be more exciting to get gamers to put money into the actual creation of the audio than tools that, whether you love it or you hate it, digital tools nowadays are kind of expected to be free. They're not free. They're very expensive to develop, but that's the way it is. And we just said, look, guys, if we really believe in this, we got to put our money where our mouth is, and we got to spend an awful lot of our own money to make the tools. And I think we just believe so much in the audio that we'll make this thing work.
Awesome, very cool. So give kind of, for anyone that's still pretty unfamiliar with this, what would you give, say, as like a quick pitch if you had to tell somebody in like 30 seconds everything about this, which may be impossible, might be asking the impossible.
No, I got it.
What would you say?
All right, I'll say one, and I know I'm gonna take Mike's, and then I'm gonna throw it to Mike to put him on the spot. Okay,
Yeah,
30-second
thanks.
pitch. Watch Star Wars: The New Hope award ceremony on YouTube without the John Williams score, which has more than 1 million hits. Watch that without the music, and see how flat and awkward that is.
That's more than 30 seconds.
Shut up, Mike. That is gaming without audio, is that scene without music. Mike?
Yeah, I would just basically say BattleBards is custom tabletop audio for fantasy gaming. And the story, the best there is out there so far. End of story. Short and sweet. There you go. I gave you less than 30 seconds because Alex took up my other 20 seconds.
As I am wont to do, yeah.
But yeah,
Perfect.
I mean, I think that's just basically it, and the tools to make it actually functionable and easy to use at the table, because that is one of the key things. Because you just can't do it with YouTube and iTunes. The customization, the level of complexity to put something together, or score a specific scene, you're going to have to go and buy like DJ level software to mix these things correctly, and nobody wants to do that. And with the technology where it is today, it's a no-brainer to put it together like that.
Now I'll ask you, just because I'm unsure. So the Realm Sounds kind of set up that app, I guess. That program, is that going to be very similar as far as the mixing side of it to what they can expect out of BattleBards?
Yep. It's the mixer on the BattleBards is going to be the next gen, but the interface is going to be very, very similar, where you're layering tracks, you're cropping them, you're putting them to the mixer side and positioning where you want them to start. It's going to be that, but better. You're going to have tools to more precisely layer your tracks. You're going to have some basic mixing options like fade in, fade out, crossfade, and stuff like that. Which again, the thing is, if you were so inclined to create masterpieces of mixes, I'm going to tell you, use Audacity. Use these crazy tools that a sound engineer is going to use. If you're like me and I don't have the time to be a professional audio engineer, I want a great mix and I need to do it in 5 seconds. These are going to be the tools for you, because when I'm prepping a session that's already at least 4 or 5 hours of work, I'm not adding another hour and a half or 2 hours to that. I want to create a mix really, really quick. Then these are going to be the tools for you. So yes, the interface is going to stay the same. It's just going to be cleaner, slicker. The timing is going to be better, and there's going to be some more advanced options, which are literally just going to be click and drag.
That's one thing I noticed when I was playing around with it, was how simple it was. I mean, it didn't take, you didn't have to read this giant tutorial. You didn't look at the screen and be like, oh my God, what do all these things do? It's just, like you said, you could put it together in 5 or 10 seconds and have something that you think would take a lot longer. But it's very simply laid out, so well done there. And that's the old one, so I'm sure the new one's going to be amazing. So you've easily in the last 40 minutes sold me and hopefully a lot of people on this idea. So what would you say, over the next 5 minutes or so, anything left to say to really show people what this is about? Anything that we left out? Just kind of any last words you want to get across?
Sure. What I would recommend for people out there who might still kind of be on the fence, please go on our Soundcloud, go on our Kickstarter, and we have some demos. We very proudly show you guys what we're capable of. For reasons that we can't put everything out there. Hence we have to get the Kickstarter, but we have quite a bit on our SoundCloud account, and that's going to give you a very good idea across every genre of audio that we offer, of what we're capable to do. I think our SoundCloud, in the short time that we've really kind of started promoting it now, we get like 300-400 hits a day, and so it's really good stuff. So check it out. Again, guys, this is really kind of grassroots. The best thing that you could do is we're looking for passionate gamers like Kirk, like Mike, like the people that we work with that could really help us spread the awareness of audio and gaming, and really help us spread the word of BattleBards. Again, you don't have to be an audiophile. You don't have to score every part of the game for just adding that one key sound effect at the death of a PC or the uncovering of a relic. Just having the little spice, I'm telling you guys, is going to transform your game. So just, if you guys can be on social media and help us out, even if it's just hey, I saw this BattleBards, looks cool. That really is a game changer. That's going to help take BattleBards to the next level and help us offer more. Because the new model is all just purchase as you go, you're going to be able to cherry pick what you want. So if voiceovers isn't your thing, great, just buy our music, just buy the soundscapes, buy whatever you want, as little or as much of it as you want. So again, I humbly ask gamers out there if you wouldn't mind checking us out, and as a very humble request, if you could talk to us, talk about us a little bit. We're extremely responsive. We want to hear from you too. Even just the random good job thumbs up goes a very long way with us. We work a lot of long hours, and hearing gamers that love gaming as much as we do tell us, hey, I used your soundscape last week, and I saw my players smile when I played it. Mike, I think I'm speaking for you here when I'm saying that makes our week. Hearing passionate gamers use and like our stuff, and that really goes a long way, guys. So I ask that talk to us. We're open. We're not some guys on an ivory tower in a company. We respond to everything we've received. I don't think we've left anything out that we haven't responded to. We're a very open community.
And another thing is too, don't be afraid to try new stuff. I know, we are kind of going in a new direction, or we are trying to do, voiceovers and stuff like that. Don't be afraid to try it. I mean, if it's not your thing, that's fine. But please don't just think that you're locked into just music or just sound effects or just monsterscapes. That we do have quite a few other little things that we'll add, and if you just try it out, please.
Especially since like voiceovers or sound effects stuff that maybe aren't used so much by GMs, it's so cheap. I mean, at least our starting library, we've been able to work with our talent to price it the way it is to get people to just try stuff. So the barriers to try this is just super low. And in fact, if you're going to get on the Kickstarter, you're going to get a bunch of it for free.
Awesome. So yeah, anyone who's watching, anyone who watches this, because it will be posted to the channel after we're done, I will put the SoundCloud link in the description, and then I will also have a link to the actual Kickstarter. And just for everyone's information, I of course am going to be backing this, and I'm going to back it as high as I can, just
Thanks.
Because it is the stuff that I've even just played around with already is awesome. And then meeting you guys, you can tell that it's run by gamers who are listening to gamers, and it's all made for gamers. So it's a no-brainer for me, anyways. So I do want to thank you, though.
I think we're gonna steal that tag.
Hey, go for it. It's all yours. But I do want to thank you, Alex and Mike, for coming on, and for kind of just letting everybody know, what this is about. But yeah, that was a great time, and I actually learned a lot, even though I've been playing with it for a week or two here. So thank you both for coming on. Any last words for everyone?
Game on, everyone.
Thank you for having us. It's because of people like you that we kind of got this feedback, this kind of outcry to make this transition, which has just become more successful and has reached more people. And so really it is because of people like you that we got to where we are now. So thank you, sincerely, because at the end of the day, we're doing this because we just want to make the game better, and we just want to keep the game alive and thriving, and we just want to see more content, and we just want to see more stuff, and we just want more. I mean, let's be honest, right? we want more books, we want more, minis, we want more this, that, the other thing. So, at the end of the day, it's all about you guys, and all of us working together.
So what I'll end with, guys, is again, I think hopefully the message is clear that we respond with the community really well. In fact, again, to prove that, a majority of our work on Kickstarter is actually decided by backer vote. We had a Monsterscape that was decided, which Ghoul won out. All right, Ghouls. Unfortunately, Mike's upset because he wanted Gibbering Mouther. Sorry, Mike.
I really wanted, yeah. I really wanted that.
For ambient music, we had Haunted Cemetery chosen by our backers. So for language, we had Dwarven win out by like 1. We have a current survey being, and this is all backer vote. So backers are telling us what they want, and it shall be done. That's our dictate. That's our mandate. We currently have 1 out right now for source music. For those of you who don't know what source means, I think BattleBards is also doing something unique where, for those of you who don't know, there's really 2 types of music in the movie industry. You've got underscore, and I'm sure there's more than 2 types, but underscore and source. Underscore is ambient, so that stuff that you're playing with your narratives, typically the soundscape loops, that's just ambient. That's for the players. That's just to dial in the emotional state. Then there's source. Source is music that's actually heard by the characters. So, a bard, on the mandolin or on the lute, something, that's source music. So we currently have a source out right now, which we have some great contenders. And in fact, I just checked a little while ago. I think we have a 3-way tie going. So anyways, if you pledge even $1, you are extremely welcome to participate in telling us what you want us to do. So please come on there and do it. And Mike, I'll let you kind of wrap up with our kind of ending call to people to come and talk to us.
Yeah, we're easily accessible. I mean, we have a Twitter account, which is, at BattleBards. Our Facebook page, which is, again, Facebook, but I think .com/BattleBards. We also have a Twitch, which we do Twitch Alex's main game, The Wizard of the Rose, and that's we do announce that on all of our social media when we are going to be doing that, because it is not every Saturday.
Speaking of which, Michael, are we doing that today for the people watching right now? We're twitching. Are you set up to Twitch today?
Yeah, we can do that today. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll be doing it today. But yeah, you can obviously check out our social media pages and for the schedules of when we are going to be doing that. And Alex does use quite a bit of audio in his games, so you can see how we do it. It's not a play-by-play by any means, but at least you can see how he does use it in the game, and that is twitch.tv BattleBards, and then our YouTube channel, where we have a couple videos up right now called Beyond the Title, where we
need to move those videos. I think we have them on the OCGG YouTube channel. I think you're gonna upload the. Yeah, we need to get those uploaded on BattleBards.com. Sorry, everybody.
We're soon to have Beyond the Title videos on our BattleBards YouTube channel, where we basically show people how you can use the fireball light sound effect for catapult pitch instead of so you don't have to, you're not locked into fireball is just fireball. You can obviously use it for this, that, and the other thing. Stone skin can be skeletons rising up at someone summoning skeletons out of the ground, something like that. So we have a series of those videos, and then in post-production, still, is a video series that we're shooting in audio and gaming, very cleverly designed there, where we show people how to basically do all this stuff, how to put together scene accenting and things like that. It's almost a walkthrough on how to do all that stuff.
A lot of stuff to check out for everybody, so you can see really kind of who they are and what exactly they're doing with everything. So thanks again, guys. It's my pleasure to have you. I'm glad I could help out in any way that I could. And yeah, I just want to thank everybody for watching, and head straight over to their Kickstarter page to at least check that out before you check out all of their other great content. All right, everyone, we will see you next time.